Well, good morning, everyone. This is Joanne Geer. I am the Executive Director for the Westchester Biotech Project. We launched just 2 years ago in May of 2017, and we have been working with our regional universities and companies and government to really work on building the community and the roadmap going forward for the entire life science cluster in the region. Westchester County, New York is just north of New York City. And of course, everybody here that's doing any kind of research, whether it's discovery or clinical or post-release, is collaborating nationally and internationally. I love this quote. We always overestimate what will happen in 2 years and underestimate what we can accomplish in 10. And I think we've got a pretty good prognosis for 10 years from now. We do a lot of free programs. We do a lot of roundtable discussions that very often lead to really interesting actions. Some of those include, we have a MOU with Westchester Biotech Project Europe. It's kind of a sister city relationship where we're looking to build connections across the Atlantic. We'll have a launch event. That'll be a virtual event in the summer, July 18th. And you'll be hearing more about that soon. And what we're hoping to do is get folks together in 15-person groups around the globe and share some updates of what's going on. And we're going to focus on innovation in dealing with the FDA and the EMEA. The Westchester Certificate is a program, a 5-module program on essential skills for the lab. So it's safety, lab notebooks, aseptic techniques, sustainability in the lab, and understanding the drug development process. Young Investigators focuses on really from college age through about age 40. So we're really focused on the postdoc PhD era and the first 15 years of a career, but of course the whole pipeline is very important to us. And with expansion space, there'll be some announcements soon. There's a real need in our area for lab environments, mixed environments that include labs, for companies coming out of incubators. So there's one incubator in Westchester, and then of course there's 100 life science companies in incubators in New York City, some of which have connections to Westchester already. This is just some of our upcoming events. We have a lot going on, and it's all on our website, so I won't go into detail there. We really need to thank all the many different organizations that have supported us in our growth and that are really leading the way toward making plans for our future. I'm going to introduce now Dalfoni Banerjee, who's going to talk about getting ready for bio. And as we go along, it'll just take me a second to get that button pushed, Dalfoni. There we go. As we go along, please feel free to enter questions in the chat box. We can take them as we go, and then we'll also have time after we hear our presenters in order to invite everybody on the call to introduce yourself and ask your questions. Here you go, Dalfoni. It looks good.
Great. Well, thank you, Joanne, and welcome everyone. Today's discussion, and we hope it will be a discussion, is preparing for bio. On the line with me, I have Steve Yelity as well. We'll introduce ourselves in just a moment, but we thought we'd start with welcome and introduction, then a high-level overview of bio, just a few things that you might have already know about, but just to level set the conversation. Steve will talk about the opportunities. The major opportunities at bio obviously are around networking, and Steve has done that for several years, so he'll be giving you some insights into that. I'll talk about planning your booth because that's where we have interfaced with bio is from the booth arena, so we'll talk about that. Steve and I and Joanne will also give some other considerations at the end, and again, questions, comments, discussions at the end, but please do feel free to chime in with questions as we go along. We're happy to take them. So I'm Dalfoni Banerjee, the Principal Consultant and CEO at 360 Pharma Solutions. We are essentially a project management company. We work with pharmaceutical, biotechnology, and medical device companies, including startups, across three major areas: clinical research, medical affairs, and marketing. Steve.
Good morning. My name is Stephen Yelity. I am President and CEO of BusStim LLC. BusStim LLC is a virtual biotech accelerator. And what we do is we work with PIs out of academia and entrepreneurs from small biotechs to help them, in many cases, turn their what they consider a company, but it's no more than a research project, into a company. And we have a risk sharing collaboration agreement. Everyone talks about risk sharing, but no one is really doing it. And our model is that risk sharing virtual biotech accelerator.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. We're both honored to be involved with the Westchester Biotech Project and really appreciate, Joanne, you inviting us to do this talk. So let's dive right in. High-level overview of bio. Just very quickly, because obviously you might know some of this information already, but it's coming up just around the corner. It's going to be in Philadelphia this year, June 3 through 6. They're expecting over 16,000 attendees from 67 countries or more. If you go to the website, you'll notice that they are really pushing the tri-state area. That's Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware. It's very rich in universities and research institutions, a lot of incubators here, startups, and so they're really pushing that aspect of the tri-state area. The key benefits, and again, Steve is going to really drill down into this later, but just as an overview, the key benefits of attending are partnering, the education. There are lots of education sessions, and of course, networking. You also have access to global biotech, pharmaceutical, medical device companies through the one-on-one partnering, which Steve is going to go into as well. Exposure to industry thought leaders and over 500 education sessions. Steve.
Okay. In my opinion, one of the main components of bio is the one-on-one partnering. And even though it's very expensive, and it's very expensive, especially if you do not register early. They have some discounts associated with register early. And I have another area that you can obtain some major discounts, which I'll talk about next. So what it does, it gives you an opportunity to set up meetings. It's designed with a private portal that once you pay that $3,100, you get access to hundreds and hundreds of pharma companies and investors that now you can reach out to them through the portal to request meetings and arrange meetings and communicate. And basically, again, the key is to try to set up the meetings early. And the portal is open now. It opened last week, and the one-on-one partnering opened last week. And in most cases, I really highly recommend that you try to set up meetings 30 days in advance. So most of our partner companies are setting up meetings right now for the week of June, the first week in June. So the key is, if you have a good company and if you have an attractive company with an unmet medical need, you can get meetings. So this is really designed, and the point that Daphne made up front is a worldwide attendees. So most of the time, these companies that are located outside the U.S., this is their one chance of this and J.P. Morgan. And J.P. Morgan is more investors, where bio is more pharma. But this is their one of the two chances they have to communicate with U.S. companies, small companies that most of us are. This is their one chance they get a chance to meet with you face to face, one on one. So that's why bio is very key, and this is the one on one partner is a main component of it. Now, a lot of people do not have the funds to invest and actually being able to have access to the partnerment section. So I recommend ways of trying to get meetings outside the partnerment area. And one of those is by identifying the companies that have booths and try to set up meetings at their booth. And also, what have happened, and I've been able to coordinate some of this, especially through our company, is to share this cost with a tech hub or accelerator like BusStim, and then we can share that cost and set up meetings for the various companies just by imagine of communicating. So it's ways of trying to share that cost and get meetings outside. I will say, it's still in my opinion, even with the $3,100, it's well worth it because a lot of the companies have gotten introduction to investors and introductions to pharma companies that have led to millions of dollars of funding and millions of dollars of partnering. Go to the next slide. This is for the future. I have recommended, and a lot of people, it's amazing that most people they're not aware of this. They have a component, which the awards will come out today, which they call Startup Stadium. And this is for small companies that haven't had a chance to present at Bio. You get a chance to submit an application, and basically, normally it's about 30 finalists, and all 30 finalists would present at the conference. They are interested or trying to increase that to 50. So basically, it has been about 30 finalists out of about 200 companies, 250 companies that apply, and these 250 companies are throughout the country that apply. And I think, I'm not sure this year, I will contact the person. So if anyone want to find out whether it's going up to 50 or not for the future. But this is future. If you have not taken advantage of this, I'm just giving you future references. So maybe next bio, you can take advantage of this. The value of this is not the meeting. It's not the presentation. It is you will be able to get the same access for $800 versus the $3,100 that the conference costs. So yes, you only get 15 minutes to present, and you're presenting in front of investors. But the key to winning the Startup Stadium is the value of an $800 membership per person. We have to emphasize that the $3,100 per person too. That you get that value for $800. And I recommend for everyone that will apply, and with the exhibit fees for $325, I recommend that you go to the Startup Stadium presentation. Is part of the exhibit. So you can go to those presentations in order to get experience to what these companies, who these companies are, and how they present. And also, if you have a service like F&A that has a service they want to offer, so sometimes it's good to go and listen to these companies. You will get 30 to 50 startups presenting 4 days. It's an opportunity for you to learn about these companies in order to sell your services to these companies as well. Right, next slide. So another thing that I like to recommend to people, if you do not have the partnering access and you only have the exhibit access, is to go to the company's presentations. Most of the big companies present, and some of the mid-sized companies present as well. But I'd like to try to attend the major pharma companies' presentations, because at that presentation they give you an idea of their strategies. And the key point is, and anyone that is a pharma company or a biotech company, you want to find out what areas of interest are these companies interested in, because you do not want to contact, a Johnson & Johnson, for an example, for an area. Well, everybody's doing oncology, but I'm trying to think of an area that they may not have any interest in. But you want to find out the interests of these pharma companies, because those are the companies you would contact if you have an asset in those areas of interest. So I recommend that that is very valuable to attend those presentations. That's my last slide. Oh, now networking. Networking is key. You need to find the conferences or the access. I recommend there's one that is done in the exhibit hall, and all of the exhibitors normally have, in some of the states, they normally have, and this is the way I get my nice food as well, they normally have on, it's Tuesday this year. I think the 4th is Tuesday, yes. So after the exhibit hall is over, they open up the whole, and that is an area for networking. That is an area that you can meet people. Everyone normally use that as an area of networking because it's free, okay? And that's right there in the exhibit hall. I spend a lot of times at the receptions. The receptions are normally held every night, and there is ways I normally get, and if I get it, I will share it with Joanne. So maybe she can share it with anyone that associated with the Westchester Biotech, that of the events, of the receptions. And some receptions are invitation only, but some receptions are open. But these are the areas that, now I have to admit, is basically very difficult, because at that time of night, a lot of drinking and everything else, but I have made some great contacts at some of these that I can follow up with the next day or even after the conference is over. So take advantage of that.
Forgive me for interposing, but one of the things, the aspects of bio that I find most challenging is that of stamina. So I think if you can get to that reception, with some energy left, you can actually make some good connections. So thanks for commenting on that, Stephen.
That is true. So I really, at these conferences, this will be my 4th biotech, and at these conferences, and a lot of those have been in, actually I went to Philly years ago, so it was in Philly about 4 years ago, so maybe this is more in my 4th biotech, but most of them are the West Coast. And you're right, Joanne, it is a difficult week. I think that is...
Okay. Well, thank you, Steve. Go. Into planning your booth. So this is, we've actually had one booth at Bio once, but it was a very, very worthwhile experience. And we've exhibited at other conferences. We do that a couple times a year. So some of the things that I'll cover here are for Bio, yes, but also just for exhibiting at conferences in general, if you're going to do that. So the first thing is you have to begin to plan months ahead of time, of course, because you need to get your booth designed and, get it made. And so for that, we work with my marketing agency, the marketing agency for our company, designed our booth. And you also have to determine what booth size you want. We always go with the smallest size, 10 by 10. We're a small startup company in our own right, so that's what we do. I also have a checklist that's about 4 pages long, because each time we do this, you just don't want to forget something, right? So I recommend a checklist. Our handouts are generally short and sweet, and I always like to make them an odd size, so not 8.5 by 11 or business card size, because you want them to stand out. The odd size can add a little bit more of expense, but we find that it's, it's that little bit more, anything that you can do to stand out, and I think an odd size really helps you with that. So we'll go through some ideas for your booth, again, on the next slide, just based on our experiences in general. So first of all, the candy. It's very important to have candy. And the reason is because you want to, and this is just my opinion, of course, but you want to do things to draw folks to your booth, right? Yes, they might see your company and know your company or be curious about your company and come over anyway, but you want to get those passersby, you want to do whatever you can to draw folks into your booth. So we find that candy is a real draw, a mixture of chocolate and some fruity kind of candy. Also an eye catcher, right? So you can have you'll see booths with video screens with all kinds of things going on, just an eye catcher to pull, again, you're trying to pull folks, draw people into your booth. Flowers are also a good idea. We usually do a raffle. We've done a raffle, sort of a Tiffany bracelet, all the way to what we call pick-me-up cups. So those are cups that are filled with candy and Altoids and Starbucks cards and that kind of thing, and we call them pick-me-up cups. So we usually ask people to have us scan their badge, right? Because when you scan the badge, you get all the email addresses and all the information for each of the individuals. So that's a great way to collect quote-unquote business cards, but it's electronic. So we usually ask them, in order to be entered into the raffle, we need to scan their badge. We've also done surveys, right? And Bio actually gives an opportunity to do this. We did a survey at Bio last year where we had folks, in order to enter the raffle, they had to answer our survey questions. There were like 3 questions, I think, and also let us scan their badge. And we scan the badge with a lead retrieval app. Most conferences have some kind of variation of this app. Just in case folks don't have a business card, or they don't or the lead retrieval doesn't work. We were at a conference previously where the lead retrieval app didn't work, so we had a business card drop box. We always have it. And we found that that's a good idea to have just in case the lead retrieval app doesn't work. The other thing is, say the lead retrieval app doesn't work and people forget their business cards. Well, we have a little contact request card. It's a business side card that we have printed that says contact request on one side. On the other side, it has space for folks to leave their information. So for anyone who doesn't have a business card, and if in case the lead retrieval app doesn't work, we have that backup where they can leave their information. We always have tables and chairs. So again, drawing people in, make them comfortable, here, sit down, have some candy. We have a charging station as well. We use it for ourselves, for our cell phones and our other electronics, but we invite others to use it as well. Reprints of your current articles. Reminder items are always a good idea. We have magnets, although folks don't have refrigerators that are magnetized or that accept magnets anymore. But we have a ton of magnets, and we still try to give them out. Of course, don't forget your business cards. Case studies if you have them, and I think I mentioned recent articles already. We also have comfort mats. Sometimes most booths, and even at Bio, you have to pay for padding underneath your carpet. And it can be, quite expensive. So we use comfort mats instead. It's like if you've worked in a laboratory, you have your mats that you stand on when you're working at the bench. It's that kind of mat. Don't forget your business card holders. Power strips are also a good idea. Clipboards if you're going to have folks filling out contact requests or any other information. Don't forget to bring your lots of tape. And lastly, we have a sign that, if we all need to leave the booth for some reason, we put a little sign up that says, "Be right back." Other considerations for bio. Your social media strategy, I would say make sure you have one. What we do normally is push out an announcement that we're going to be at an upcoming conference. We push it out onto our website. We push it out via Twitter as well as our LinkedIn company page. And of course, I push out the announcement on my LinkedIn personal page as well. Joanne?
Thank you. In the past, at some big trade shows, I've developed a one-question survey. And it's very easy as somebody's about to walk past your booth to say, could I ask you, would you participate in a one-question survey? And I have a big sheet of paper with the question on it, and I have stickers where there's a range of answers. And often in my past life, we did a lot of things around cybersecurity in health tech. And so it would be, how concerned are you in your role with cybersecurity on a scale of 1 to 5 or something. But by the time they've stopped and they've answered one question, it's very easy then to move forward with a conversation. Thanks, Dalfoni.
Oh, absolutely. And before I hand it over to Steve, just one more thing about that survey. It's a powerful tool because you do get to engage folks, and most people will stay in chat, so you can learn about their stories and tell them about yours. The nice thing about bio is actually you can do that, what Joanne just described, electronically. So that's all part of their lead retrieval system. And I didn't make that clear before, I don't think. So it's a really nice tool to have at bio. Steve?
Oh, yeah.
Using the bio app? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. The app is very, very valuable with the partnering. As well, because you actually at the conference, you walk in the floors, and when you have meeting requests or meeting acceptance, it actually comes right through your phone, through the app, so you can communicate back and forth with people that you are trying to set up meetings with, and it's been very valuable to me.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. Conference follow-up. So I would say follow up because you'll have so many wonderful meetings, and you'll collect business cards either hard copy or through the lead retrieval. Also, just one other mention here. There are apps that you can get on your phone, and you probably already know about them, where you can scan business cards. Not all of them work as well as others, but if you are not exhibiting and don't have the lead retrieval application or app, then you can do a very similar thing from your phone as well. So at the end of the day, though, you'll have collected business cards or some kind of electronic information, and just an email to follow up, to set up follow-on appointments, to have discussions about how you can work together, or just networking. I would say conference that's very important. The other thing is, from a business point of view, just like we push out through through our electronic media and social media, our announcement that we're going to the conference, we always push out afterward that we really enjoyed the conference, which we usually do, and it was great meeting everyone. So I don't know, Joanne or Steve, if you wanted to comment on that further.
Nope.
I think the only thing that I would add is that it's worthwhile, if you can, to prepare your follow-up in advance, because in regard to the next bullet item, I just find after a major event like that, it's there's a lot of, besides the catching up with whatever went on in your office while you were gone, finding the energy for a cheerful follow-up isn't always immediately available. So if you could prepare that while you're preparing your overall forward-looking strategy, then you'll be in better shape to push the button when you get home.
Yes, that is very important, and that's that could have been part of the planning slide as well, our booth planning slide. Joanne, that's a great point. And I don't think I mentioned, but it's fairly obvious that this is an example of our pre-conference push. Come on over and meet our team at our booth, for instance, last year at Bio. So that's just an example of what we do. Staying sane in a crazy environment, I think, Joanne, you just alluded to that. Really, it's all about planning ahead for your post-conference push, communications, planning ahead for your booth, planning ahead to network, as Steve had mentioned, planning to do your meetings, both the one-on-one partnering or outside of that partnering, planning how you're going to have the stamina to stay for the receptions and, have a good time at the end of a long day. Really the key to staying sane in a crazy environment is, from my point of view, planning. Steve or Joanne, would you like to say anything else about that?
No, you said it all. Good job.
Well, I'll just add that it very often happens that I meet the person I was meant to meet when I go and get a cup of coffee and just sit down quietly. and I agree with everything you're saying, Dalfoni. And then I guess my point is to allow, build in some breaks for yourself, because sometimes those serendipitous moments are the most important ones.